Are you ready to hustle?
I need to hustle.
Welcome to The Hustle with Justin Harrison, the ultimate podcast for money motivation and inspiration.
In this season of the Hustle podcast, we're talking to solo entrepreneurs, small business owners, and MoneyTribe members and tackling their personal finance and entrepreneurial questions. And today we're talking to Kumari from KZN. Kumari, welcome to the Hustle podcast. Let's get going with your first question.
Thank you, Justin. I'm so happy to be here. My first question is, I'm part of the government pension fund. I'm about to retire in a few years. And I just want to say I'm so glad that I joined the MoneyTribe, because I'm going to learn so much by the time I pension off about what the real GEPF is all about.
The thing is, a lot of people are desperate for financial information and advice. And part of the MoneyTribe's objective is to try and give people content in a very precise way that's very different from the way traditional education is given. And a lot of people are truly being empowered by this information, and we are proud of how the community is growing, and we're going to keep building on the content and hopefully provide a lot more value in the months to come.
Thank you, Justin. My second question is about debt. People need to know that it's recurring. It's a habit. So people need to learn to budget within the means, because it's like a sickness. If you don't learn to be self-determined, it's going to be a real sickness to keep borrowing money and to keep being in debt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, debt is one of those things that has been made very accessible for people, and it's become a normal thing for people to be in debt. But, you know, like you said, one of the keys to being self-determining your future and becoming sovereign and really figuring out how to solve your problems, and especially if you want to start a business, especially if you're wanting to create a retirement that's going to be successful, you've got to learn to eliminate debt, and you've got to learn to live without debt. And unfortunately, debt has been popularized. It's even worse because the financial institutions themselves exist on the premise that there is consumption. And if you're not consuming product, if you're not consuming debt, it has a major impact on the industries at whole. So, you know, I think it's very important that people need to understand that debt is, for most people, and I'd say 98% of the people on the planet, debt is a very bad thing. Now, I use debt very successfully, and there are aspects of leveraging debt once you get to understand the financial system that are incredibly powerful. But the problem is most people are leveraging debt on their primary source of income, and they're leveraging that debt for things like buying a house and buying a car and improving their lifestyle and consuming things, rather than using debt to actually go out and build something like, for example, a business, or build out something that's going to produce income. And so it's not that I'm anti-debt. I'm anti-debt being used in the way that it's been promoted, and I'm anti-debt in the sense that most people don't have emotional and financial control when it comes to debt. And so, you know, my advice to any youngster who's starting out there is to try and steer clear of debt. The further away you can stay away from debt and build up savings and actually own your stuff, the more financially successful you're going to be in the long run.
Yes. My other question is about passive income. I really learned a lot about passive income. It's income that you don't work for. It's something that you have on the side, and you build on that, you live on that, not your daily salary. You can't say that if you have money in the bank that you have money. You have to have a side hustle, if I'm right.
You're absolutely right. So, you know, passive income is a subject which I'm extremely passionate about. I talk a lot about the fact that passive income for me is probably the alternative to a successful financial retirement. I think if you look at retirement funds as a whole, I've been very vocal about the fact that retirement funds are running out of money, and they're entirely dependent on the next generation of funding those retirement funds to take care of the current generation. In addition to which, I don't believe that most people are going to accumulate enough money by retirement in terms of capital to successfully retire. And the statistics are clear. Only 0.08% of the total global population will retire with enough money. So there has to be an alternative. And I think the alternative is teaching people how to create passive income. And passive income, exactly like you said, is non-earned income. It's where you figure out how to create something that you don't have to exchange time and labor on an ongoing basis to earn money. And today there are just so many opportunities for passive income. I believe that every youngster should be looking into it. I think every person that's heading close to retirement should be looking at it. And I can tell you my own personal financial success comes from the fact that at the age of around 27, 28, I figured out that I needed to earn money outside of exchanging time, labor, and effort for money. And so, it took me a couple of years, it took me 4 or 5 years to get to about the age of 32 when I was really, had enough passive income to not have to work anymore. And I think, if I look back on my personal financial journey, it was a very big part of creating financial freedom for me and for my family. And so I'm very passionate about teaching people to think about passive income. And, people generally want me to hand things to them on a platter and say, do this, do that, do this. But everybody's got different skill sets. Everybody's got different talents. And so you've just got to figure out what is it that you're good at and how can you create something around it that will generate passive income. So maybe you write a book, maybe you produce a piece of software, maybe you create templates. I mean, there's so many things out there. It's all about leaning into what you're good at and figuring out how to create that ongoing income. And, my argument, and I say this all the time to people, if I gave you the choice between $1 million in the bank today, or I gave you the choice between 50,000 a month ongoing for the rest of your life, what would you choose? And the obvious answer has got to be 50,000 a month ongoing for as long as you live, because it means that over time, it's actually going to be worth more than the $1 million. But people don't think about that. People are chasing a number in the bank. And we need to get people to start thinking about chasing down the ongoing reoccurring income. And I think that's the secret to successful financial planning. I think it's a very big part of the secret to becoming financially successful to the point where you can retire financially. And so that for me is certainly something that I'm very passionate about.
Yes. The other thing is the mental aspect, how you need to be strong in your mind and body to help you to become a success, because everything starts inside and it's inside of you. I love that about the Money Tribe.
Yeah, I think I once again go back to my journey and I look at what has separated me from my peers, what has separated me from people who I went to school with and who I've, run businesses with. It comes down to one simple thing. I'm not necessarily more talented. I'm not necessarily any better at anything, but I am extremely persistent. And so for me, part of remaining persistent at something means that I had to build mental strength and mental fortitude. And, I'm on social media taking comments from people all the time. People say the most horrible things on social media, and it doesn't bother me because I've got a strong mental state. And, I think today, if you want to give your children a gift, if you want to give yourself a gift, that gift is to teach yourself to have an iron mind. And the thing that people don't want to hear when it comes to developing a strong mind is that you've got to go through pain. It's just like going to the gym. At first it's sore, at first it's painful, but eventually you develop the resilience. And becoming strong in the mind is the same thing. We have an ability as human beings to push out negative things and to pull in positive things. But most people are not actively controlling their mindset. And for me, it's one of the few things that you actually have control over. You can control your mind. You can't control what the government's doing. You can't control what your boss is doing. You can't control what your clients are doing, but you can control your mind. You can control how you think. You can control what you consume. And so for all of these reasons, I think the mind is the most important aspect to unlocking true freedom in this world.
Yes. I also started the 30-day challenge. I lost 2 kilos. I'm so proud. I haven't lost weight ever. And I'm so determined. I'm still trying the ice bath. I'm going to do it. I'm so proud of you, Justin. I'm so glad you're in my life. You're so humble. And at the same time, you're so great. I'm so glad to be part of the Money Tribe.
Thank you very much, Kumari. We really are, determined to help people make changes in their lives. And, I always say if we've had this great fortune of making it across to the other side and figuring out the keys to success, we have a social responsibility and a social contract to share that with people. And so it is a big part of my passion to make sure that this information gets to people who really want to learn how to become free.
Yes. I'm just so glad that I watch all your podcasts. I'm learning so much. I can't stop praising you. At the same time, you're so humble. It reminds me of me. I'm also humble, but sometimes I feel to be like a big show off that I'm part of the Money Tribe because I'm learning so much.
Thank you, Kumari. We really appreciate you. So if you found value from this podcast, please make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button depending on the podcasting platform that you're on. Also, if you are finding value from the information that we're sharing in this podcast, please leave me a rating or review on your favorite podcasting app. It really does go a long way to helping new people discover the podcast, and we are truly passionate about getting this information out. And remember, hustle makes muscle.
Stay motivated by The Hustle. Talkers talk, but hustlers hustle. Find more episodes at ecr.co.za or your favorite podcast app.